screens, according to Nielsen data. These days, stepping outside for some air can feel like an act of resistance, a blatant disregard for the emails that need to be sent, the projects that need tending to, the family that needs taking care of. Those who can afford to travel get their nature fix on weekends away or faraway vacations, then return for another indoor stint until burnout hits again. We've evolved to feel safer, more comfortable, and more productive inside, on our devices, even though the outdoors is where many of us are our most calm, creative, and captivated. Is it any surprise, then, that levels of stress, anxiety, and overwhelm have reached soaring heights? The World Health Organization has called stress the health epidemic of the 21st century and considers depression a leading cause of disability worldwide. As of 2019, nearly 1 in 5 adults in the United States lived with a diagnosable mental illness, with anxiety disorders being the most common. And as our mental health suffers and stress levels climb, the nature we used to turn to for reprieve is disappearing before our eyes. As I'm writing this, millions in Texas are without power and water following a once-in-a-century winter blast thought to be exacerbated by warming conditions in the Arctic. In Pew Research polling done within the last year, 63% of Americans surveyed said they felt like climate change was affecting their community. There's no denying it. Human-caused emissions are fundamentally changing Earth's climate, and they're already forging an ugly and alarming new world. I've spent the last 6 years watching the climate conversation pick up from behind my computer as the sustainability editor at mindbodygreens, a health website. In that time, I've come to believe that these dual emergencies, the mental health crisis and the climate crisis, are intricately connected. Removing ourselves from nature is making us sick, stressed, and profoundly out of sync. And it's doing the same thing to our environment. As we've lost touch with nature, we've lost touch with ourselves, and we've hurt our planet in the process. The good news? It doesn't have to be this way. Return to Nature provides a framework for reconnecting with the outdoors for the sake of our health and the planet's. This book proposes a new definition of wellness, one that's rooted in simplicity, self-awareness, and meaningful exchange with the wise and healing world all around. Well, it's easy to fully immerse in nature when you're on an extended hike or beach getaway. I'm more interested in sharing ways to do it every single day, no matter where you live or how much vacation time you have. How can we continue to live in developed cities and the burbs without completely severing ourselves from the natural world? How can we convince ourselves that backing away from our screens and stepping outside is not a luxury, but an essential part of being human? How can we see nature not as a place to escape to on the weekends, but as a refuge that is always sitting outside our front door? These are some of the questions we'll be unpacking in the coming pages. And any time we discuss how to get more out of nature, we need to consider what we're giving back to it in return. So expect plenty of ideas on how to conserve natural environments near and far along the way. Ready? Our landscape to landscape return to nature starts now. I believe that soon, neuroscientists will tell us that being in the presence of nature lights up our brains the same way as the faces of those we love. When we step outside, nose to nose, eye to eye, fully immersed in the wild, we are the best versions of ourselves. Wallace J. Nichols, TED Talk, Neuroconservation, Your Brain on Nature. The big, wide world of research on nature and mental health. If this book were to take the form of my beloved maple, its trunk would be the increasingly sturdy research on the mental health benefits of nature. Environmental psychology is a field of study that explores the relationship between individuals and the natural and built environment, and it's one I'll be referencing often. Since its early days in the 1980s, coalitions of researchers have taken the question, why does spending time outside make us feel so good, and run with it? Sometimes to parks and beaches, other times to laboratories and VR simulator centers. At this point,